When I was born, my mum and dad were told that I would never walk around, never do anything, never sit up even, and I'd kind of be in a vegetable state. So it was a kind of a defiance. I'm Mickey Bushell, MBE, and I'm a Paralympic sprinter. Paralympics, there was nothing really going through my mind other than getting to that finish line. There was no other thought. Me and my coach, we worked a lot on just the race being another training session. I broke the world record 3 years previous, and then I was breaking the world record every year to it. However, I had no one to chase. To win it in a home games was, I couldn't describe it in words. I don't know how. One of the first things acrossing the line was like, thank God for that, But after that, everything else was kind of overwhelming as well. Getting my MBE was quite a surreal experience. It was an honour, and one of those things that I didn't particularly strive for, because it wasn't kind of, for me, it was always winning the medals, winning world records or whatever else, being the fastest on the planet. That was the goal. So to have something like that, it was quite special. My childhood was quite fairly normal, actually, in the sense of my normal. Yeah, I went to mainstream school, did mainstream things, played with my friends like any other kid. They kind of treated me normally as well. There was no always disabled or anything like that. It was always like, oh, can I have a go in your chair? Can I do this? Can I do that? And it was, can you do a wheelie? Can you do this? And it was always that kind of stuff, and just general kids stuff.
Can you do a wheelie?
I should hope I can, yes. Yeah. No, I can do a wheelie, yeah. My parents kind of treated me like that as well, and kind of just let me do things. Obviously, they were told that I couldn't do anything, or when I was born, that I wouldn't do anything. So it was kind of that, just let him go off and do what he needs to do, and he'll figure it out kind of thing, which I think is one of the best ways to do it. What is my normal? I think for me, the way I kind of look at it is I try and live as normal as possible, in the sense of I do everything that I need to do like everybody else does. Obviously, there is barriers. For example, like when I was younger, I couldn't just jump on a bus. And there's not always a drop curb everywhere. And, when you're walking around, you just hop off and hop on again. But then there's probably the other flip side of it is like health conditions and health problems, and through my life, and especially when I was younger. 2015, I had the sepsis. It was early on in the year. I just got back from Australia, actually. And I believe I had the sepsis kind of in the March. So in hospital, it was the time that I felt truly disabled, actually, while I was going through it. But afterwards, it was always a panic or a worry about, am I going to get ill again every time I trained? And that was quite debilitating at times. That kind of put me in a dark place, and a kind of a hole to try and get out of. And yeah, just to try and build back out of that was quite difficult. So my feelings after Rio, when I came sixth, was gutted, sad, just all those like instant emotions was like quite negative towards it. However, kind of in hindsight and after a bit of a thought and chatting to coaches and stuff like that, it was kind of, I still felt sad about it. I was gutted that I came in that place, even though with everything that happened the year before the sepsis, there was no real pressure to do anything more than even just get in there. It was kind of just the goal. But I always wanted to medal regardless. I think my greatest accomplishment is either the Wrekin, climbing the Wrekin and actually getting up there, but also I think to be a part of somebody's journey where they're trapped at home and trapped within themselves and they can't get out and do stuff, and then being someone that guides them and supports them to be able to get out there. I think that's something special in itself. I always wanted to climb things. Years before I did the Regan, one of my dreams was to climb Snowdon actually, and I was planning it, and then I fell ill with sepsis and stuff, so it never happened, and then I just continued racing. But for the Regan, it was kind of that starting point. There's a few full summits actually that you think, oh, we're there now, and you're not. And there was particularly one at the top, near the top, and it was about another 300 meters to go, and it just, inside, I just wanted to like curl up and cry. Yeah, that was a tough part, and that ending, but we just couldn't stop. We had to carry on and just keep going. I think Snowdon was a bit ambitious for a start. I needed to do something smaller and kind of see what it was really like. And the Rekin kind of humbled me on that side of things. Next for me is actually climbing Snowdon next year in September. That's the next kind of big goal that we're looking for.